On the eve of the summit's final day, two activists with the group Greenpeace interrupted a state dinner for over 100 world leaders at the Danish Royal Palace. Dressed in formal evening wear, the couple unfurled banners reading "Politicians talk, leaders act."
Climate justice! Climate justice! Climate justice!
We have 4 climate heroes languishing here in prison just before Christmas.
The United Nations Climate Change Conference has opened at the Bella Center in Copenhagen, Denmark. The largest climate conference in history will run for 2 weeks.
I think the mood in the room in the center with NGOs is of profound disappointment with the failure of the United States and other leaders to step up to the plate and actually deliver a climate deal that's going to protect the climate and prevent dangerous climate change.
In the next something like 36 hours, we will be joined by the most impressive decision-making power the world has seen in many years.
But regardless of the various issues, the city of Copenhagen welcomed the 110 heads of state and governments from 192 countries.
The success of our endeavors depends upon us forging a new alliance. Not one bloc against another, not north against south, not rich against poor, but the first global alliance of 192 countries, a new alliance for the preservation of our planet.
If the climate was a bank, a capitalist bank, one of the biggest ones, they would have saved it, the rich governments.
China, India, and other developing nations boycotted UN climate talks, bringing negotiations to a halt, with their demand that rich countries discuss much deeper cuts in their greenhouse gas emissions.
I would now like to invite the Brazilian President to the floor. Mr. President.
For a long time, we have been discussing the climate change issue, and more we see that the problem is even more severe than we could have ever imagined. What we need, and I will say this frankly in public, something that I have not said yet in my own country. I have not said even to my team here, to my bench, and I have not addressed to my Congress. If it is necessary for us to make more sacrifices, Brazil is willing to tap money to help other countries. We will do it.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for your statement and for, I must say, your very wise remarks, which proves that you are one of the wise men required for agreeing. Now, I would like to invite the President of the United States to take the floor. Please, Mr. President, the floor is yours.
While the reality of climate change is not in doubt, I have to be honest, as the world watches us today, I think our ability to take collective action is in doubt right now. And it hangs in the balance. I believe we can act boldly and decisively in the face of a common threat. That's why I come here today, not to talk, but to act. We are ready to get this done today. But there has to be movement on all sides to recognize that it is better for us to act than to talk.
On the eve of the summit's final day, 2 activists with the group Greenpeace interrupted a state dinner for over 100 world leaders at the Danish royal palace. Dressed in formal evening wear, the couple unfurled banners reading "Politicians talk, leaders act." The action came one day after 2 activists briefly interrupted the summit plenary, chanting slogans for climate justice.
Well, I'm going to open the doors for the head of states, then I will go with them to the stairs, and then I will go to the security and tell that we are Greenpeace, that we are doing a non-violent protest.
There's no media, we just walk.
I'm participating in this action because I think this is now at the moment where a decision has to be taken. I have a small son, 2 years old, and I would like that he, if he is adult, if he's grown up, that he finds an environment which is still intact and better than now.
My name is Nora Christiansen. I live here in Copenhagen, but I'm originally from Norway. And I'm married and I have 2 children, 2 and 7 years old. Greenpeace has been campaigning with millions of people across the globe for months now, trying to get the heads of state to come to Copenhagen and make this fair, ambitious and binding agreement on climate change. This evening we will try to get as close as possible to the Queen's dinner for the heads of state, to pass them a message that they need to look after the future of our children, and I really hope we succeed.
I'm Juan López de Uralde. I am the Executive Director of Greenpeace in Spain, and I've been very much involved in this campaign for the last at least a couple of years or even more. You know, it's very hard to know exactly which of the many actions that civil society is taking is influencing the heads of state and which one is not influencing. But what we know for sure is that the civil society is standing up and is talking. And we are talking through peaceful, direct action. This is the way we are communicating to the heads of state. Whether they want to listen or not, that's their responsibility.
The United States is prepared to work with other countries toward a goal of jointly mobilizing $100 billion a year by 2020 to address the climate change needs of developing countries.
Do you seriously believe that $100 billion is going to be enough and going to be enough to move this process to a conclusion tomorrow night?
Well, $100 billion a year is a lot of money. That's a commitment that is very real and can have tangible effects.
I was wondering about the Fast Start financing, because the EU has committed about $10 billion, Japan $15 billion. So what is the EU offering on that?
Well, we are committed to the Fast Funding Start, and we're going to do our proportion of it, right, Todd?
What we absolutely have to do during this time that remains, during this conference, to consistently and steadfastly work to bring about a solution.
4, 3, 2, 1, and the fossil of the year goes to Canada! Canada, the big winner of the Fossil of the Year award. Canada has won Fossil Award after Fossil Award. We're joined now by Prime Minister Stephen Harper in person, making his first appearance outside of the Bella Center here in Copenhagen. Canada wins for objecting to strong targets, objecting to extending the Kyoto Protocol, refusing to move from its minus 3% target from 1990 levels.
It is a climate shame because the world leaders came here in Copenhagen with the empty hands, and they had promised to deliver a fair, ambitious and legally binding agreement, and they have nothing. They came with nothing, and it's really a climate shame.
Way to go, Copenhagen. We salute you. For SeoulTV.net, I'm Patricia Rayner.